What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned, certain Black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
Sit back and realize we're all getting robbed in broad daylight. Like, not metaphorically, I mean straight up looted, pickpocketed. While we work ourselves into early graves, billionaires sit around on super yachts Googling how to dodge taxes better. And it ain't just the usual suspects like Musk, Bezos, and Gates. And yeah, I'm talking about Trump too. That man plays broke for votes and rich for taxes. He said, "I'm smart," when asked why he doesn't pay his fair share, and millions of folks cheered. You know what that is? That's Stockholm Syndrome. Loving your abuser because they let you breathe. Meanwhile, we pay in blood, in labor, in overdoses, in years we'll never get back. The top 1% of this country now hoards more wealth than the entire middle class combined. In 2025, they control over $50 trillion, and they made $1.5 trillion during COVID alone while we stood in food pantry lines and begged for $1,200 checks. That ain't capitalism, that is extraction. That is war, and we are the battlefield. They got folks working 3 jobs just to afford rent on mold-infested apartments. They buy politicians like Pokemon cards. You think the system's broken? Nah, it works exactly how it's supposed to. We are the product. We are the fuel. We are the meat grinder's favorite meal. They convince poor white folks to blame immigrants. They tell black folks to pull themselves up by the bootstraps with no boots. Keep us too tired, too sick, too divided to fight back. That's the game. That's always been the game. Fred Hampton said, we're going to have to struggle. We're going to have to fight. Not just with fists, but with truth, with solidarity, with real, hard, uncomfortable organizing. You want freedom? It ain't coming from a voting booth or a billionaire's speech. It's coming from us, from union halls, from mutual aid drop-offs, from showing up when the floods hit and FEMA ghosts. They stole everything but our will to survive. And now we take it back. Not asking, not waiting. We take it.
I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough of this horse shit. I don't give a shit what kind of law you make. I ain't going to follow it. I ain't paying my taxes this year. I just don't even care. I'm not going to be ruled by tyrants. I'm done. No taxes. I'm not following your goddamn laws that you make that are arbitrary and unconstitutional. I just ain't doing it. I've had fucking enough of your bullshit. Washington State, Oregon, California, kiss my ass. I ain't following no more laws. No more new laws that don't make no sense. Your little snitch line and all your bullshit you got going on, I'm not doing it. I'm not funding your scams and your NGOs and your fucking bullshit. Your wars, your thieving. Yeah, thieving. You loudmouth politicians that don't give a fuck about the common person. I'm done. I've had enough. I am no longer going to participate in your horse shit. And I don't give a fuck what you try to take from me. I come into this world with nothing. I'll go out with nothing. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and fuck off. And on top of that, you best leave me the fuck alone, because you won't like the results if you come out here and try to stomp on my neck. It won't end well. I'm old. And I'm mean as fuck. Leave me alone.
All right, you're not going to believe this. I'm just outside the House Judiciary Committee And actually, I got a guy here who wants to say hi. Hold on. I'll take a picture with you real quick. I'm doing an Insta Live right now. You're on an Insta Live, but I'll get back to it in a second. Hop in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. Of course, thank you. All right. House Judiciary Committee right now, you're not going to believe this. I'm stunned that I have to tell you this. Republicans just voted, every single one of them, to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens. Not like deport unlawful, violent immigrants. No. They just voted in our committee to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens. That's where this is going. They just voted to allow that. I've never thought I would see this before. I never thought it would come to this, but that's where we are right now. And so just on the other side of these doors is the hearing that I'm in right now. I'm going to get back in a second because we're still voting on other matters, but it's not shocking because this is always where it was going to go, but that's a dictatorship. That's a dictatorship. It's a fucking dictatorship when you allow a president to deport your own constituents. And learn the names of every Republican on the House Judiciary Committee because they just did that. They just voted to allow Donald Trump to deport American citizens. I mean, it's one of the most shocking things I've seen. I think my Democratic colleagues were stunned that they would want to give him so much power. But that's where it's going. It's not going to be a completed dictatorship, though, and I want to tell you why. He has the ambitions of being a dictator. For it to be a completed dictatorship, he needs you to not show up to the town square. He needs the press to not independently cover him, and he needs the courts to not hold him accountable. He should have a check by Congress. That's gone. These guys are not doing it. It's gone. But right now, the press is independently covering him. Courts continue to hold him accountable, and you keep going to the town square. So that's the sand in the gears of a dictatorship, and we gotta amp it up. We have to amp it up. Again, I just want to tell you why I invited you in here. House Judiciary Committee right now in Congress, Republicans just voted to allow Donald Trump to deport American citizens. This is the same week that we learned that the president deported a 4-year-old American citizen with cancer. And this is where they're taking us. But we're not helpless. We're not helpless at all. You are awakened. You are going to the town squares. We have small victories that will bring us big victories. We're going to cut our time in hell in half by changing the majority in Congress and putting a check in place. I'm going to get back into this hearing, but I wanted to tell you as soon as I sat in that room and saw that vote, Republicans on the Judiciary Committee just voted for Donald Trump to deport American citizens. Fuck that. We're not letting that happen.
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word?
Well, I have some updates on this one that y'all probably aren't going to like. To recap quickly, you could follow that comment if you're on TikTok. Otherwise, this is from a video where a woman was spotted at a children's playground in Rochester, Minnesota. She was yelling the N-word at a 5-year-old little black boy who has autism because he took her child's toys. And she was physically pursuing him when this other father pulled out his phone and confronted her and recorded her, and she was proud to continue using that word. So I made this post, and a lot of people were outraged by it. But then it was found by another group of people. The alt-rights, the white nationalists, the groypers, they all saw this and immediately said, "Is this our queen?" And made her like a hero. Like she was some sort of legend to them. And then they decided to message me. I got lots and lots of fan mail. I like this one about going to cut off my hands. My hands will most likely be holding a cordless hole puncher in them. So you might have to deal with that first, but good luck there, bud. Also, not all of them were terrible. I mean, thanks to this one, now I'm a wizard. But I digress. Meanwhile, the man who recorded the video got it worse. They found out who he was, started sending him threats. Then someone found an article from 2023 where he and another man were charged with an assault of a 16-year-old. And they started going, oh, this guy's a registered sex offender who doesn't even have kids and was at the playground for what reason? So first of all, he does have kids. He was there with his children. Second of all, that case, if anyone had bothered to look, but why would they do that, was dismissed back in 2023. Court documents state the case was dismissed in the interest of justice. And generally speaking, a dismissal in the interest of justice allows a court to dismiss a procedurally proper, so it's not like police screwed up the investigation or was filed wrong, procedurally proper but unjust or unjustifiable cause of action. In other words, yeah, we don't think these people did this thing. And he maintains that he absolutely did not. But here's the best part. It really doesn't matter. He's kind of irrelevant other than the fact that he's the one who recorded the video. He's not a part of it. It's not like he said, she said. He was just there and documented it. Now, a bunch of the messages I received were calling me out for doxing her, which is interesting because I didn't say her name anywhere. I didn't make a post with her name anywhere. I had it within like an hour and a half of posting 2 days ago. I passed it along so that the people who were involved, the parents of that child, could seek justice because she committed at the very least a misdemeanor and with the use of slurs, possibly an enhancement to a felony. I wasn't going to make a post about it. I wasn't going to dox her and put her information out there. She, however, doxed herself. That's where this picture comes from, which was posted as part of her Give, Send, Go fundraiser to help me protect my family, where she acknowledges that she is the woman in the video. And in her description of why she needs the money, said that she called that kid out for what he was. Like zero remorse for using racial slurs against a child. Incidentally, this is because she's in fear for her life because she's getting death threats and whatnot. This picture here, those children's faces blurred, I did that. Just like I blurred her child's face in the video. Because I wouldn't expose her children in the way that she clearly will while being afraid for her life. But she was asking for $100,000 and it picked up quickly because the little chodes on like Twitter started running with it. Let's all support her. She's a white supremacist like us. And as of today, she did at least fix that photo. But also, she's raised over $300,000. And she's upped the goal to $1 million. And the comments that people are leaving with their donations are about as disgusting as you would imagine they would be. The N-word, used a lot. As Jolly pointed out in this video, one guy gave $1,488 just so it could be a $14.88. For those who don't know, that's a big dog whistle with the white supremacists. 14 being the 14 words we must secure for the white race, blah, blah, blah. And the 88, H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. HH as in Schmittler. She's made being a horrible racist who wanted to pursue and potentially assault a child lucrative, which is hard to wrap my head around. Now, if you don't like that, Give, Send, Go does allow you to report campaigns that you don't think should be up for the reasons you don't think they should be up. And you can certainly do that, but historically, they're pretty shitty about taking this kind of stuff down. So if you see all this and upsets you, there is something you can do. Because the Rochester chapter of the NAACP has put up a GoFundMe. There is a link in my bio to that. I did confirm with them that this is legitimate. They are talking to the man who recorded the video as well as the family of that child. So if you want to help them fight back and pursue justice for this child who was targeted in the horrible way that he was, that's one way that you can do it. And listen, as bad as it is that all these white supremacists are supporting this woman, I've seen this before. We've seen this with like Lily Gadd when she did her whole little thing and had her 5 little minutes. In fact, she made videos promoting this woman because, you know, the clout chase is real. But they're going to forget about her in like 5 minutes and then she's going to be back to being on her own. And she'll have a bunch of money, potentially, if her account and that campaign doesn't get taken down. But also, she has to walk down the streets of where she lives and everybody know exactly who and what she is.
Latinos.
Sorry, this is America. You have free speech in this country.
It is my own business. You call. Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again?
Fuck you, nigger.
Okay.
So go and support her. She's got like a Gifts and Go up. But this is great. This is white people finally being fed up with this shit. And the fact that we have brown people trying to take away white people's rights in a white country when we have the Constitution and freedom of speech, and they come from their countries where you can be locked up for hate speech. This is just disgusting. This is everything wrong with immigrants. This is everything wrong with brown people in our fucking country. And this is why we need to kick them all out.
The Latino Trumpers don't get it yet. This far-right movement, the white nationalists, they don't like your brown babies. They don't like your black babies. They don't like any of us. Right now, they need you. But once they're gone with all the undocumented, you're next. They've already raised over $500,000. Small donation. They're telling you how they feel with their wallet.
My name is Kylie, and here are the top 5 reasons why people deny that racism exists. This video keeps getting taken down, so if certain words are censored, that's why. Number 1, reparations. A lot of white people are terrified that they are going to have to give up a lot of their wealth. Reparations movements are gaining traction across the country right now, and white people are terrified that if they recognize racism exists and it's real, they're going to have to give that up, and they don't want that. Number 2, the Great Replacement Theory. If white people are openly racist, they could be risking pushing their white children away from them. This theory is that over time, there are going to be as many white people, so we won't be able to maintain our majority status, which is threatening to these people. Number 3, a lack of college education. Genuinely, I think some people do not realize how systemically racist our country is. Like, genuinely. Number 4, white people don't want to give up their congressional seats or their CEO seats, which is why they are anti-DEI. And number 5, if they acknowledge the existence of white privilege and nepotism, that means that they will have to recognize their wealth wasn't acquired through merit, but rather family connections. That means they didn't actually earn it, it was given to them.
This is exactly why I say MAGA is the Confederacy reincarnated. By now, we've all met this woman. She is the woman who used the N-word at a park to a 5-year-old child. Her excuse and justification for this was that the 5-year-old stole stuff out of her baby's diaper bag. And because of that, she is now playing the victim, using her white woman crocodile tears to raise money. As a former Trump supporter myself, who also did 10 years in the Florida Department of Corrections and joined a white supremacist organization, I always tell people that the dogma of white supremacy, the politics of white supremacy, go hand in hand with the Republican ideology. In fact, when I joined this organization, it wasn't because I thought that I was explicitly racist or xenophobic or misogynistic or all the isms and phobias. The reason why I joined this organization, because I felt like I was the victim, that white people were under attack and that we needed to protect white people in general, but especially white women and white children. And if you look at the money that she raised, over $250,000, and you look at one of her top donors, average white man, $1,488, $1,488. Why is this number significant? The 14 represents the 14 words. For those of you who do not know what it is, we must secure the existence of our race and a future for white children. But what many people don't know is what comes after that. There's a response, and the response is why. And typically when the leader says the 14 words, the rest of the people in the organization will say that the beauty of the Aryan woman shall never perish from the face of the earth. There's also a significance in the 88, the 8 being the 8th letter of the alphabet twice, which is the letter H, which signifies Hell, the mustache man from Germany. But the other part to that many people don't talk about is the 88 precepts of white supremacy. And if you go read these precepts and then compare it to the policies of MAGA and Trump, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And also the biggest reason why Trump wants to give a $5,000 bonus for having babies.
Since my last video did well about warning people of color about things that happen that they might not know about, here's a little thing. If you go to a restaurant and you are a person of color, and you hear the server walk back into the kitchen say, "The Canadians are here," they are not talking about Canadians. They're talking about you, and they're warning everybody that you're here because they're racist. They're making pre-assumptions about you based off of your skin color. So if you go to a restaurant and hear anybody, any part of the staff say, "Oh, is it the Canadians? The Canadians are here," they're talking about you and they're being racist. So please keep that in mind next time you go out to eat.
Hey, public school principal here, just weighing in on the new executive order. It seems that it gives permission to teachers to use physical discipline on students inside their classrooms. Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. No, it feels a little bit like a setup, because you've been turning these people against us for some time now, telling them that we teach their children critical race theory and that we push DEI agendas and that we are performing gender reassigning procedures within the school and that we purposely stock our libraries with corrupting books for students to read so that we can somehow indoctrinate them in that way. Yeah. And now you want us to paddle those people's children while we have them at school? No, we're not going to do that. It's almost like the school shooters weren't taking us out fast enough, so you're raising up a new army to come for us? We're going to pass on that one. These are not our children. We won't be paddling them. Thank you.
My first ancestor coming to North Carolina in the late 1600s into what would become Bertie County. I say that with an immense amount of pride, but to admit that I'm a 12th generation anything in this country means that I'm most likely the direct descendant of enslavers. And in my case, I am. I'm the direct descendant of enslavers. And that's not an easy thing to say. But I grew up in a time where, that flag and that history was revered. And when I look back, I think it was the conflation of that flag with Southern identity. And it came to mean all of these other things. I grew up going to Leonard Skinner shows when they hit, Sweet Home Alabama and 100-foot by 50-foot Confederate flag dropped at the back of the stage and everybody went nuts, and my daddy was one of them. And then I grew up and I read books. And I think about someone like Alexander Stephens, and I'm assuming we all know who Alexander Stephens is, but if we don't, he was the vice president of the Confederacy. And when he was defining what that institution was, he said, its foundation rests, its cornerstone is laid upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery and subordination to the superior race is his natural and born condition. That's what the man said. That's what he said it defined. So I don't care about any kind of revisionist history that wishes to place it as something else, because it's not that. And I think about the black communities in Jackson County. I think about people who have descendants here who go back hundreds of years. And what every one of you who voted for that is saying is that you revere a moment in time when their ancestors were in bondage. That's what that means.
My platform focuses on voting with your dollar and choosing which businesses you want to support, who support you and the ones you love. And one important group of people in the United States serves as a powerhouse for economic growth. Those who identify as Black or African American in the United States account for nearly $2 trillion in buying power, according to Black Wall Street. And they estimate that buying power will increase to somewhere between $2.5 and $3 trillion by 2030. The Black community in the United States accounts for huge spending in many industries. Some of those are listed below. And the states that heavily depend on Black consumers include Texas at number 1 at $149 billion, followed by New York at $141 billion. We already know that Black lives matter, and this points to the fact that Black dollars matter as well.
Despite making up 13% of the population, Black people commit more than 50% of crimes. Number 1, shut up. Number 2, the statistic is racist. And number 3, I'm going to explain why to other white people who are stupid to not understand what this means. Number 1, Black communities are heavily over-policed, meaning they are more likely to be targeted by police officers than people who are, say, white. The second reason, white people have more connections to police officers around the country, meaning that if they are arrested, it's easier for them to get off and have nothing on their record. The third reason is that if you don't know this, the CIA actually did introduce drugs to low-income Black areas. Not to mention, the first police department in America was designed to be a, quote, slave patrol to bring an enslaved person back to that plantation. So if you have any critical thinking skills at all, you would understand it's not that Black people commit more crimes, it is that they are arrested, prosecuted, and treated inhumanely to the point that they are vastly overrepresented in our prison system.
In the last couple of days, I've gotten tons of hate mail from Black Trump voters. Now, right off the bat, if you're Black and you voted for Trump or you're still supporting Trump, you are delusional. If you think Trump, I've known Trump for 30 years. If you think he's pro-Black people, you're completely delusional. I've been to Mar-a-Lago, I don't know how many times, and I've never seen a Black person there. And Mar-a-Lago is a huge place. There's 1,000 people there when I used to go there for a fundraiser or an event. Never seen a Black person. I've never seen a single Black person there. Okay? Trump is not a fan of Black people, but you probably didn't see this. If you're still supporting him, you probably didn't see how he snuck this in a couple of days ago. So a couple of days ago, if you're not familiar, Trump pulled back the law that kept federal workers in federal buildings from segregating bathrooms, drinking fountains, work areas from Blacks and whites or any other race. Okay, it was always Black and white, but that's what the law says. He pulled it. Okay, now we're going back to the days of the early 60s, late 50s, 1950s and before, where there were Black water fountains, colored water fountains is what they call them for coloreds, and white water fountains, and restaurants. And now in federal buildings, they can discriminate against you. Okay, let me tell you, if you didn't know that, let me tell you what's next. It's coming. Watch. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, if you don't know your history, that's what Martin Luther King died for, basically. Okay, that's what John Lewis used to march in the streets for. Jesse Jackson, all these guys fought for this to give so people could not discriminate. The government couldn't discriminate, citizens couldn't discriminate, companies couldn't discriminate against people of color. Okay, if he pulls that, we're headed back to 1950. And if you're Black, you ain't gonna like it, let me tell you. Okay, I don't know how many of these people that are sending me hate mail that are Black are educated people, but if you know your history, I don't see how you're supporting Trump. Wake up before it's too late. It's going to take generations to pull this back together if we ever do. And you don't want to live in a country when you're a Black person that's circa 1940, 1950. It was not a pleasant experience. Okay, that's why the civil rights people marched and did all the things they did, because they had real guts. They weren't sitting back. Another thing I'm getting from Black people is, oh, well, you can march now. We did it in civil rights. It's your turn. Are you kidding me? If you're not a wealthy white male, he's coming after you. He's coming after your rights. Women, Hispanics, military people as well. They're a minority as well. He has total disdain for the military. I don't know how many times he has to tell you guys how he thinks you're suckers and losers. He said it a million times. Okay, he has no respect for military people. He doesn't understand, and I've had this conversation with him personally over the years. He doesn't understand why people go into the military, risk their lives, basically for politicians that don't know what the hell they're doing half the time anyway. All these kids died in Vietnam, when I was growing up, and we didn't even have a good reason to be there. Okay, so there's a lot, and that's how Trump feels. He thinks you're suckers, you don't make any money. Okay, so if you don't make any money, he doesn't respect you anyway, which is obviously ridiculous. I mean, military people are patriots, obviously, but he doesn't believe that. He's not on your side. Guys, wake up before he pulls every right you have. Again, I fit into the, I'm a white, wealthy male. Okay, he's not coming after me, although he'll probably come after me for doing posts like this. Eventually, he'll shut me down. He'll shut every voice down. Free speech itself will be shut down. It won't take long unless we can get rid of this guy as fast as we possibly can and overturn this administration. And the only way we're going to do it is if people stand up. Here's my message to people. If you're one of the people that's sending me hate mail, stop sending it. I don't care. You're delusional. If you think he's on your side, you want to be delusional, you want to go back to separate drinking fountains and all the major discrimination that you never even saw before because you're too young, that's up to you. It's pretty stupid. But I'm not going to suffer for it. You're going to suffer for it. Every Black person is going to suffer for it. For that matter, every minority is going to suffer for it. Wake up, people. It's time to fight back.
It's time to speak up. Did y'all catch the news in the Friday night news drop that today, April 11th, the State Department issued an internal memo to all of its employees, telling its employees that they are to report anything they see in the workplace that is un-Christian. State Department employees are ordered to report anything they see that is unchristian. Now, I love Jesus with everything in me, but this no, this is what Christian nationalism is, people. I have been telling you for months. Anybody watch The Handmaid's Tale? Gilead? This is what's happening. There is now an instruction to people who work in the State Department of our government to report anything unchristian. This is not a drill. Put your boots on. Go love your neighbor.
Appropriate to write on the wall, then why would you do it? I can erase it. Erase it. Have some respect.
Let's talk about Donald Trump, the billionaire who hides his tax returns, the genius who won't show his grades, the great businessman who bankrupted casinos, the playboy who pays for sex, the Christian who doesn't go to church, the deal maker who folds under pressure, the patriot who dodged the draft, the philanthropist who steals from a children's cancer charity, the innocent man who pleads the fifth and refuses to testify. Now, I'm not saying he's completely full of shit, but there's a reason he craps his diaper multiple times a day. It's got nowhere else to go.
New this morning, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt is asking multiple McCurtain County officials to step down from their jobs immediately. And he's sending in state investigators to see if anything illegal has happened. This move comes after the sheriff, a county commissioner, the jail administrator, and a sheriff's investigator were recorded by a local newspaper at a county meeting expressing frustration that they could not hang black people anymore, and also openly threatening to kill two newspaper reporters.